The discovery of Earth. The Galactic Council had long ruled over a sprawling empire, maintaining peace across the stars. They had seen countless worlds, species, and civilizations, each more wondrous than the last. Yet when their scouts discovered Earth, they initially dismissed it as just another young, unremarkable world. It was teeming with life, certainly, but its inhabitants, the humans, appeared primitive, struggling to survive in a hostile environment. But then the Council's top analysts made a startling discovery. Earth was a death world. The concept had always been theoretical, a world so perilous that only the strongest could survive, and even they would be tested daily. The creatures of Earth were savage and relentless, from towering predators to unforgiving landscapes. This was not a place for the faint of heart. The Council's representatives landed on Earth with the intent to observe. They found a species capable of adapting to unimaginable extremes. The humans, with their barely developed technology, lived in constant warfare, not only against each other but against the wild beasts and natural disasters that threatened to wipe them out. What was most intriguing, however, was how they overcame these challenges. Humans had no innate superior strength like some species of the galaxy. They didn't have the ability to communicate telepathically or control energy fields like other races. No, humans relied on something else, their minds. Their ability to improvise, innovate, and survive was a skill that set them apart. As the Council studied them, they began to realize that this species could be a valuable asset, if only they could be properly trained. What if these Deathworlders could be molded into a more controlled version of their violent selves, guided to fight for the greater good of the galaxy? The Council's bold decision. The decision to train the Deathworlders was not taken lightly. The Galactic Council had an overwhelming sense of responsibility, managing over 1,000 worlds, species, and civilizations. To them, peace was paramount, and they had long upheld the notion that the galaxy had evolved past the need for war. Military might was something of a relic, an idea that had died with the last of the ancient empires. However, the Deathworlders, the humans in particular, were an anomaly. The Council's top strategists saw the potential for them to serve as soldiers, peacekeepers, and defenders of galactic stability. What if they could teach the humans combat techniques that could be used for more than just survival? What if they could control their aggressive instincts and use their innate strength for good? Led by the ancient Nukiri, the Council representatives approached the humans with the proposal. They offered to share knowledge of galactic technology, diplomacy, and, most notably, modern combat strategies. They presented it as an opportunity, an invitation to join a peaceful galactic community that had long left war behind. The humans, however, were skeptical. Their history of conflict and survival had taught them one thing: only the strong survive. But even they recognized that this offer could change the trajectory of their future. After much deliberation, they agreed, cautiously. They would learn from the Galactic Council, but they wouldn't surrender their survival instincts. What the Council didn't foresee was just how quickly the humans would not only learn, but surpass the teachings of their masters. The Deathworlders' transformation. The Council had hoped that the humans would absorb combat techniques in a controlled, structured manner. They anticipated that the humans would use their new skills sparingly, only when necessary, and with a sense of discipline. What they did not expect was how rapidly the humans adapted to every training session, every weapon system, and every strategy. Within weeks, humans were already mastering the combat simulations the Council had designed to test their skills. They learned the theory behind advanced warfare, how to read a battlefield, how to manipulate technology for combat purposes. The humans' capacity for innovation began to shine. But it was not just the skills they were acquiring, it was their approach. They were turning the teachings of the Council into something uniquely their own. They combined the galactic techniques with their own history of guerrilla warfare and hand-to-hand combat. What had been meant as training in controlled warfare became a breeding ground for ruthless efficiency. They improved the technologies and weapons they had been taught to use, adapting them into instruments of destruction. The combat training wasn't about defense anymore. It was about dominance. Their philosophy, forged through centuries of war on Earth, began to influence their approach. The humans came to believe that survival was for the strongest, and power was the ultimate form of survival. This idea was not merely theoretical, but something they practiced in every drill, every battle simulation. The humans were no longer simply learning how to fight. They were creating a new form of war, one that was centered around total control and the belief that only the strongest deserved to rule. The Council, though initially impressed, started to realize that the Deathworlders were not becoming peaceful soldiers. They were becoming conquerors. The first clash, it didn't take long for the humans to begin testing the limits of the Council's teachings. At first, the Council believed that the training would be contained to military exercises, and that the humans would only use their newfound strength to defend themselves should the need arise. But the humans, driven by their newfound philosophies of strength and power, began to turn their eyes beyond their homeworld. They rapidly expanded their spacefaring capabilities. Once primitive ships were now upgraded with advanced galactic technology, and human ships were faster, stronger, and more adaptable than anything the Council had encountered. They ventured out into neighboring star systems, establishing outposts and demanding resources. They didn't just want to join the galactic community, they wanted to reshape it. The Council, alarmed at the rapid rise of the humans, sent diplomatic missions to Earth. Their representatives arrived, hoping to remind the humans of their place in the galaxy. They attempted to offer guidance, reminding them that they were part of a larger peacekeeping effort, not an empire. But the humans didn't see themselves as members of a peaceful galaxy. They saw themselves as its future rulers, the Gay. Negotiations broke down quickly. When the Council emissaries attempted to sway them with threats of sanctions, the humans responded with an unexpected show of force. They had not only mastered combat, they had mastered intimidation. The Council had failed to realize that they had created something far more dangerous than just a skilled army. They had bred a species that believed in the power of their own strength, a species that no longer needed to negotiate or compromise. The unstoppable force. The humans did not stop at Earth. They launched a series of successful campaigns against neighboring systems, conquering planets with remarkable speed. Their warships, once simple designs, were now formidable fleets. They deployed soldiers who were not only trained in combat, but driven by an unyielding belief that the galaxy should bend to their will. The other galactic species watched in shock and horror as the humans spread like wildfire. Their tactics were brutal yet efficient, leaving no room for negotiation or retreat. The systems they conquered were either absorbed into the growing human empire or destroyed entirely. Resistance proved futile. The humans weren't simply a military force. They were a revolution in motion. The Council tried to organize counterattacks, but every effort was thwarted by the humans' superior tactics, relentless force, and advanced technology. The Deathworlders were no longer just defending their home. They were expanding their dominion, leaving nothing but fear in their wake. The Galactic Council, who had once seen themselves as the ultimate power in the galaxy, began to realize that their creation was no longer something they could control. The Deathworlders had become an unstoppable force, and no amount of diplomacy or military might could halt their march. The Council's regret, as the human empire expanded, the once proud Galactic Council found itself powerless to stop them. The very beings they had sought to tame, to mold into peaceful defenders, had turned into the galaxy's greatest threat. The Deathworlders were not interested in peace, in cooperation, or in the gentle flow of interstellar trade. They wanted something more, something primal. The Council's regret was palpable. They had sought to control the Deathworlders, to make them allies. But in doing so, they had given them the very tools of destruction that had made them so dangerous. They had failed to understand that for the humans, survival was about strength, and the greater the strength, the more power they believed they deserved. Now the Council was faced with an undeniable truth. They had created an empire of warlords, each more ruthless and ambitious than the last. The Deathworlders were not just soldiers, they were conquerors, driven by an ideology that was as old as their world itself. And the galaxy, for the first time in its history, found itself at the mercy of those who had once been its most feared and primitive species. The regret echoed across the stars, but it was too late. The humans had already conquered their first world, and they wouldn't stop until the entire galaxy was theirs.